What's worse than opening up your bag of flour when you're ready to get baking and find crawling little critters inside? Ugh. Bugs are the worst. And sadly, they can turn up no matter how carefully you store your flour. Hi there. I'm Nika Waters, and on this episode of the Boat Galley podcast, I'm going to share Carolyn's favorite 6 steps to take when you discover bugs in your flour, or any grain actually, to keep them from making a permanent home on your boat. Today's episode of the Boat Galley podcast is sponsored by MantisMarine.com, maker of the Mantis Anchor, now available in models with and without a roll bar. Proven to set reliably in the most challenging bottoms, the Mantis Anchor digs like no other, making anchoring safer and boating more enjoyable. Mantis Marine brings to market practical, durable, and affordable marine products, including anchoring gear, scuba diving accessories, and a rechargeable, waterproof headlamp for hands-free lighting. New, there's even a solar charging nav light for your dinghy. Visit MantisMarine.com and see for yourself. Well, I do suppose that one way you could get rid of bugs is to tie them onto the anchor before you put it overboard, but I think that would take an awfully long time. And really, let's talk about some practical tips here. No matter what precautions you take, and no matter how carefully you store your flour, chances are good that having little black dots crawling everywhere when you open up a bag of flour, it'll happen someday. So what do you do? What do you do even if you've stored it with bay leaves and you've done everything you can? You've frozen the flour, you've baked the flour, whatever it is. What do you do? Well, step 1 is you get it off the boat. Not just into a trash bag, but actually physically off the boat. Pitch it. While some old-time sailors would eat wormy flour, and they'd call it an extra source of proteins, that's a joke we still make sometimes, leaving it on the boat will only cause that bug problem to spread. Because the thing is, you can eat the flour, but it doesn't take the eggs out, and you will be fighting a losing battle as the next generation arrives. Get rid of the flour entirely. Step 2, go through all the other containers in the same locker and adjacent lockers. Sorry, it's a big job. Check everything to see if it has bugs in it too. And just as a little hint, if there are cobwebby sorts of things, that's also a sign of bugs. It's not just when you see them crawling. Sorry, that's gross. It's true. Be sure to check any baking mix like Bisquick or pancake mix or brownie mixes, box mixes, other packages. Anything with bugs in it has to be thrown away. I know. Ugh. Think about that. Ooh, from a versioning standpoint. Ooh, it hurts. If the buggy food was in a good, solid, hard plastic storage container, you can pour out the flour or mix and then immediately wash out the plastic container with a bleach solution. You've got to kill the bugs and the eggs, and sometimes those eggs are really hard to see. But if it was in a Ziploc, throw the whole thing out and don't try to reuse that bag. You can do a bleach solution if you've got the stasher bags. Step 3, take every single thing out of the affected lockers and wash the outside of each thing with the bleach solution before putting it down somewhere. Oof. If you don't disinfect the outside before putting the containers or Ziploc bags or whatever somewhere else, you can just transfer those eggs and poof, you just have moved the problem onto another locker. Step 4, carefully wipe out all of the affected lockers with a bleach solution. Get every single surface. Yeah, that means if you've got an under settee locker, you got to get the stuff underneath the settee, so reaching way up in there and into the corners too. If you can't use bleach because there's fabric nearby, use either ammonia or vinegar, but don't mix the two of them. And the stronger the solution, the better. Step 5, dry out the lockers and the containers. Sometimes it helps to just put a fan going on there because it's really hard to wipe it out with a towel. Add a few bay leaves to each non-buggy container as an added precaution, and toss a few bay leaves into each locker too. Step 6, put everything away. And yeah, you probably now have just stuff everywhere on the boat. Really hard to do this when you're living aboard, but all the more reason to make sure that you do it. And perhaps most importantly, keep a sharp eye out over the next several weeks for any lingering bugs. If you see any, take immediate action so as to avoid an even larger infestation. While bugs are more likely in flour purchased from barrels and in small villages in places where the stock doesn't turn over that quickly, they can be found almost anywhere. Don't ignore it if you see even just one, because where there's one, there are definitely, probably, certainly more nearby. I can't wait to share an anchorage with you when hopefully neither one of us has bugs on the boat and we just share a toast to our good fortune at being able to live this incredible lifestyle. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We love hearing from our listeners. We love it when you share us with your friends. We love it when you don't forget to subscribe. The Boat Galley is all about making boat life better, even when it comes to some topics that aren't that much fun, like, yeah, you got bugs in your flour. I hope you have the most fantastic, bug-free week.